Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore. It's been a little while for me. We're starting Eve's route today. Are you excited? We're almost at the end. Well, not really. We're almost through. We have to do this, although I think one of you guys pointed out Eve's route is has more chapters, so it's one of the ones that has like 5 or 6 chapters or something. So he's a little bit longer, and then we still have to do the last one. But we're like more than halfway through the game, if you think about it. And then we get to do all the good air quotes around that, you know. Look, listen, let me just be deluded, okay? Anyway, so I've loaded our common. Whoa, you know what? You know what, computer? Fight me. Jesus Christ. I turned down the volume, and then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I can go back to what I was doing because my sound wasn't blasting in my ear. Like, the little sound bar was still up, so I, like, clicked away from it, and then it's like, never mind, let me scream. Okay. Anyway, I opened up our common route save file 3, so we go out to the garden, and we're going to skip to Maloo. I don't quite... There isn't... Okay, I forgot how to skip in this game. I just think I'd know, because it's always Y. Isn't it always Y? I don't... Sometimes it's the right trigger, right? I don't... Guys, it's not like I haven't touched my Switch. I played a different game last night, like, just on my own, playing Hanawase. I think I'm used to hitting the right trigger because I'm constantly just spamming. You just sit there and you have to play the card games so fucking much. I wouldn't mind it, but it's like a lot of grinding that you don't get. You can't just do whenever. It's like, oh, only at this particular point. Then you're there, and then you've got it, and it's like, I gotta sit here for 6 days and grind and grind and grind and grind. And then the next game you play, when you get to the next character, it's a whole new game, and you got to do it all over. And I'm like, you know what? Whoever came up with this idea should be slapped in the face. Because I don't mind the card game thing. Like, I don't mind that. But, like, the amount of grinding you have to do in it, kind of bullshit. And then the fact that you got to do it, like, 4 fucking times because it's 4 games. And you're like, you know, you kind of suck. Fuck you. Like, you know, like, it's kind of douchey. Like, And it's not like, oh, you could go in any time in the middle of the game and like one night you're sitting there and you're in the middle of a different chapter and you want to like go in and grind, you can do it. You can't. So it's not like there's some flexibility, you know? Like, and I wish there was like, oh, I could just go in, not load my save, but I could go in and play the game and it's like, okay, we'll keep that toward your stats. So when you load your save file, it's there. You know what I mean? Like they could have done it that way somehow, so like me playing the card game saved into my game, you know, instead of, oh, well, on day 3 and day 6 that's when you gotta grind, and you're like, you're at rank 170 now, grind to level 6, and you're like, what the fuck, I gotta sit here for like 4 fucking days. Like sometimes at night you're like, I got nothing to do, I'm just gonna whatever, but like some days you're like, I just especially because one day I literally played through the game and then I was grinding for about an hour or so. And the game fucking crashed. And I'm like, I just spent like 2+ hours in, and I got to do this all over again. So like, you got to save constantly because you never know when that fucker's going to crash on you. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, it made me mad. Anyway, we're going to Eve's route. Yay! Here we are. That was easy skipping. Oh. Press. Wait. Wait for it. Okay, no. I glanced over and I was like, is my mic not working? Because I'm going to be so mad if I have to do this again. Hopefully it's okay. It is recording my... Yeah, okay, I don't... He knew the location. He knew the time. Where's this Onko that does it? Whatever, it's fine. He also knew what would be lost. Yet the watchman did nothing but look on as tragedy unfolded. Okay, so no, but see, unless he's talking about himself and... all to fulfill his promise from that day. His usual dry smile was ever present on his face, but on the night of the tragedy it warped into something truly hideous. Sus thoughts in my brain. Alright. We just jump right into being Eve. Good for us. It's been like a week or so for me because I'd record our other game. And I took my sweet ass time because we're like way ahead. So like I've been lollygagging. So it's been like 2 weeks and I didn't need 2 weeks to record our other game because the common rut was very short. Uh but like I'm like, I'm ahead. Whatever. So a gentle smile, a gentle voice, a strong arm holding me, a large hand patting me on the head. Well, I know it's not me. Is this when he was a kid? Ah, Eve's grandfather. And a terribly sad smile that bloomed amid the black flowers of the garden. And the image of my grandfather's smile still remained strong in my mind. Grandpa? I can't do kid voice. I mean, I can do kid voice. Well, I can't do kid accent. I guess I could, actually. Shocking. Anyway. We're here for this, right? I like Chris Noirs are so pretty. Why does everyone hate them? I'm sorry, it sounds so ridiculous. I love it. Oh, I hope it sounds just as absurd and ridiculous for you. Each time I came here, I'd trouble my grandfather by asking that question time and time again. My grandfather usually responded with a gentle smile, but said nothing. And for some reason, today was different. Do you think we could do old accent voice? Old grandpa voice? I don't know if I could do old grandpa with... No, I can just do old grandpa voice anyway. You must have already heard why from your mom and dad. Oh, I'm sorry. Eve's grandfather. Unless he's a reliver, but he's probably only like... He's not old! Nobody here is old! Never mind. Nobody gets old voice. That's kind of unfortunate. You know what, we're gonna give him old voice anyway, because, like, we gotta distinguish grandfather from just, like, any other dude, and nobody is actually over the age of 23 here, so... Eve's grandpa would, you know... Anyway. You must have already heard why from your mom and dad. This Lycoris Noir... Oh, yeah, the Lycoris Noirs are known as the flowers of misfortune that endanger our already short lives. Yep, I heard that before. Which is why Mom and Dad keep saying that the garden should just wilt already. It kills me. Fucking child accent. It's so weird. I love it. It's ridiculous. Well, that's why I'm confused. Why do you always show me flowers that everyone hates? Let's see. Made me tilt my head in bewilderment. My grandfather closed his eyes and thought, it does feel really weird. I'm fighting with myself, the grandfather voice, because I'm like, he can't have an old man voice. But it's like, listen, we only have so many voices. Let's get an old man voice, even though there's no way he's an old man. Listen, Eve, it's because of our bloodline. I was given a mission by a very close friend of mine a long, long time ago. Mission? And so hard. Yes, a mission more important than my life. Maybe I could tell you a little more once you're older. Everybody's fucking grandpa or dad's got some kind of mission from some kind of god or some shit. What the hell? Lucas got a mission from his dad to, like, stab motherfuckers. Eve's got some kind of weird fucking mission that has something to do with the flowers. I don't... Look, Mathis was... Well, he wasn't even a real boy. So, like, whatever. Cyan had a mission to, like, save the world. I mean, is it a little... I want to make fun of it for recycling the same, like, everybody's got a mission. Like, okay, seriously, game? But at the same time, you know, I'm here for it because I feel like... I don't think that that's, like, an oversight in the, like... Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all kind of... They all have, like, some kind of mission from some... Whatever. Yeah, it's fine. No one will notice. I feel like it's like, no, they've all got missions, but wait for it. Wait for it. It'll all tie together and it'll seem brilliant at the end. At least it better. But even if it doesn't, I'll still accept it because we're having a great time. And, you know. But I would be remiss to not point out that everybody's got a mission and that seems a little fucking sus. Saying. Did we just recycle the same plot idea? Like, everyone's got some kind of magic mission or, like, I don't know. But it's always been passed down from someone else. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's not like my mission. Like everybody, like you could have your own mission. I could have a mission. You decided it for yourself, but Eve's grandfather had a mission that he's going to pass down to Eve. And like Lucas's dad had a mission that was passed down to then him. And like, and Cyan's grandfather and to his dad to him. You know what I mean? Like these are generational missions that are passed down. And it seems a little weird is all I'm saying. You know? I feel like there's a reason for that and not just, no one will notice if we use the same kind of idea for everybody. You know? I feel like there's a purpose. Anyway. Unlike us, your pure heart allows you to see the flowers of misfortune as something beautiful. He doesn't sound like an old man anymore. Anyway, I pray you keep your innocence forever. Your love is what this cursed country needs. Why did my grandfather smile at me so sadly? He did tell me more a few years later, but those crimson flames burned away the majority of my memory. Oh, and now he's got amnesia! Fun! That's fun! I say that sarcastically. I feel like that's an overused trope. But you know what? I'm okay with it. Listen, it's overused for a reason because it works sometimes. And this is not like another game that we played recently that some of you may know where it's like, we are going happy and everything is great. But it's weird because we're kind of in the middle of the round and everything is great. Oh, now all of a sudden there's amnesia. The fuck? The fuck is this bullshit? Where it just was completely out of place. Like, sometimes amnesia comes out of nowhere. You know, like, obviously. Like, you know what I mean? But it just felt really out of place and stupid. And you're like, this feels stupid. What the fuck? And then everything's resolved and you're like, the hell? When they start with amnesia, like this, he's like, I had a fire and then I forgot some shit. And it's like, trauma. Okay, sure. And we're going to discover what that mission is in the course of his route, so that makes it a little more interesting. You know what I mean? As opposed to, hey, Eve, we're best friends and we're in love, and then all of a sudden he's like, I have amnesia and I forgot you. I guess you could say that technically that was Mathis. But, like, it's not really like he bumped his head and got amnesia and forgot us. It was, he literally had other people downloaded into his brain. It's, you know what I mean? Like, that's different. I'm gonna say that that's different. This is a little more like sci-fi-ish than just, oh, he bumped his head and now he forgot you, and now what are you gonna do? Like, because that was also part of the tragic ending, you know what I mean? Not part of his actual plot line, you know? Like, his happy route is he had amnesia, but we'll work through it. What the fuck? You know? Anyway. In a country cursed by death, the regular loss of life was felt by all. The people accepted it as part of their daily existence. Now that Boro, who's... that was... I can't remember pronunciations for anything anymore. Whose sudden murders disrupted that flow, had died himself. I mean, sure. People were all somewhat more accepting of my presence, and didn't show as much hatred or disgust toward me as before. I wonder if you're gonna find out, or like, it'll be a little more... well, you're gonna find out. I mean, we already know. But I wonder if in Eve's route, they'll kind of, quote-unquote, again, reveal that Lucas is Boro. Because I can understand why they didn't really reveal it in any other route, because depending on how you played the first three, that would ruin it. Although, Cyan's was a little... because that was the first time Boro ever spoke to us and said anything. So I'm sure... Again, the Cyan's route hasn't posted yet as I'm recording this, but I'm sure one of you guys will let me know on that part, because I know I asked, like, did he, like, was it, like, did he hide his voice? Like, was it obvious when if you're playing, you're like, oh, with the voice acting on, you know what I mean? You know, I feel like at that point, you probably didn't play Cyan's route first, but if you did, you had to already have been suspicious. You had to already have been sus. You know? But anyway. The people were all somewhat more accepting of my presence and didn't show as much hatred or disgust toward me as before. I read that. But they were still keeping their eye on me, since there was no telling when a similar tragedy could repeat. Now that things had settled down, I returned to my duties at the orphanage, helping Mother with the daily chores. If I had to name one thing that changed after those incidents, it would be,
Hey, Spacey, what should we do with the weeds the kids pulled?
should we burn them? Oh, well, I don't think there's much to burn yet, so can you leave them in a pile next to the garden? Oh, and make sure you and the others don't get too close to the licorice flower bed.
Like, you even need to tell us. Man, those flowers are such a pain growing all over the place.
I know it's a bother, but we can't cut them down. We'll die the moment we try. That also seems really sus. So, the flowers they just don't happen to be. Are we like a science experiment? Did aliens put us here, i.e. other people? You know, you had the drifter, and it's like, we're just like on this tiny little island in the middle of fucking nowhere, and the tides or whatever, or the like currents, and people can't really get on or off. And I just feel like it's like, actually, these fuckers are in a dome. This is like some kind of weird dome inside a Stephen King novel. You know what I mean? But they're like, we just live in this happy. What do you mean? There's a whole world outside. You know what I mean? There's so many like books and things where that happens, and you're like, going about my life, everything's fine, and it's like, actually, you're in a science experiment. Or you're like, I was in a car accident. You're like, yeah, you've been dead for like 300 years. We revived you, and now you're in some kind of weird post-apocalyptic dome world. But like, you don't know that. You know what I mean? You ever watch Wayward Pines? I recommend reading the books. Before they made it into a miniseries, I listened to the audiobooks because they were free on like Kindle or whatever, or Audible or whatever it was. I don't know. So I listened to them because I used to listen to audiobooks when I would go for walks. And then they made it into a miniseries. I don't think I ever finished watching the miniseries, but like, that was one of those where you're like, okay, what's mystery? And it was like weird sci-fi shit like that. I can't remember fully exactly what it was. Some fucked up shit though, and you're like, what the hell? You know, kind of spoiled that a little. There's a lot more weird shit in that, but this is basically like that, where you're like, there is some weird shit going on, and there was some shenanigans, and we're like a science experiment or something. Again, I can't remember the full, like, what exactly how they got in that situation, but anyway. Stephen King dome thing. This island is just a science experiment, and it's just like, there's like scientists sitting there like, yes, these people are weird. Very strange. Look, they invented, like, send someone in, because these people are dying too fast. Send a guy in. You know what I mean? It's like, which Star Trek movie was it? Which Star Trek movie was it where they're all like watching the people and they're like just pretending? God. I can't remember which one it was. And they're just like watching them, and these people have no clue that there's like a science base, like people watching them, and then like, but they're all in like suits that are like invisible suits where they're like walking through the town and shit like that. And then Data goes berserk and shit like that, takes off his helmet, and he's just like a head floating through the town, and everybody freaks out, and then they're like, ha ha, we've been watching you guys to see how you progress. Whoops, because you're a primitive society compared to us space traveling people. You know what I mean? It's like that. That's what's happening. Is that what's happening? Are we in an episode of Star Trek? Because I'm here for that. Anyway. Then, how about we burn them? It's the same thing as cutting them down, Milo. That's a really bold thought, Milo. If we might die as a result, do you think it would be worth the risk? I was finally able to have these kinds of casual chats with Milo and the others. Ian Brophies, the founder of the Reliver technology that supported this country, Dahud, who worked in research with him. Still sad about it. Listen, Cyan being sad because he couldn't save us is beautiful. I love that. I'm really sad that Dahud's like, I'm just gonna revive and just run away and hide in a cave somewhere. Like, don't, sweetie, don't! You deserve better! Not your fault. You know Cyan wouldn't hold it against you. Mathis, who sought revenge against Boro, his loyal butler, Jean. Oh. While I admit many others, getting to know these people in particular must have given me the courage to make changes in my life. apart from the children here. I was also speaking a lot more with Lucas after his lessons at the orphanage, which he loves because he's been in love with you since God knows when. And the biggest change thus far had to be...
Hey, Spacey. Nice weather today. Perfect for tending to the garden, right?
Hello, Eve. You're looking very well today. Oh, he's always such a sweetheart. A very kind handyman had been coming to see me quite frequently. Oh! Thinks he might be a... I'm okay with it. Look, he's adorable. He's like a little golden retriever. So, like... Is he the Labradoodle? Anyway, doesn't matter. We adore him. He's sweet and precious. And he's gonna have a dark side, you know it, because they all do. Hugo wasn't with him today, but he had been accompanying Eve and playing with the children if they had time. Wait, my Labradoodle didn't bring his golden retriever? My Labradoodle didn't bring his Labrador. Yeah, Hugo's more a Labrador than a golden retriever. Mathis is more the golden retriever, but ever since the incident, Eve often visited us to see how things were going. This is how my brain works. It's going to drive me crazy in the background. He didn't say it, but I felt he might be worried about me since I had witnessed so many horrors within a short period of time. I can't blame him for that. Yeah.
Oh, I saw the kids are taking care of the flowers today. I'm sort of envious seeing everyone having fun. I always have to take care of my garden all alone.
Alone? Does that mean Hugo isn't great at taking care of the garden with you?
He tells me he has no intention of going anywhere near the flowers of misfortune.
Oh. It is a little pout. So adorable. A lot of fade outs in this one. The only noticeable thing out front is that awful bed of flowers there. I'm not sure that's the best choice. Oh, Adolphe, don't judge the people.
You're sure it's safe. They'll die if they get too close. Don't worry. You guys know they don't cause any trouble as long as you don't harm them or try to kill them.
See, that just seems really weird. That's where all the listening devices and shit are, and if you try to rip one out, you would see the listening devices or the tracking devices or the video cameras or whatever, so the only way around that is the flowers will kill you if you touch them. You know? I'm just saying. I suppose it does take some courage to walk past them.
But they're not so bad. I mean, they do taste great.
Did you just say something? They taste great? How? Wait, sir? I mean, they do taste great. How have you eaten them if you can't, like, pluck them? If you can't cut them down, which means you can't cut the flowers, or you can't burn, you can't destroy it, so you can't pluck a flower. How do you eat them? Is this one of those things? Is like, don't get too wrapped up in the details. I thought it was supposed to be the science details. Don't worry about the weird science that doesn't science, okay? This, though, is going to make me more confused. How are you eating a flower that if you pluck it, it will kill you? I mean, trust Eve to be the one that would be like, hey, it's a death flower, let me try it. Because we already know how bad of a cook he is. So, like, okay, fine. I'm not begrudging that. I'm not, like, even questioning him trying to eat one of these death flowers because, yeah, no, that seems legit for him. I absolutely believe that. What I don't believe is that you could pick one of these flowers to eat it without dying because the flower, you know what I'm saying? That logic. Don't pluck the flowers, they'll kill you. Not the don't eat the flowers, they'll kill you, because he absolutely would. Like, I don't think you're supposed to eat that mushroom, and he ate it. I think it's a poison mushroom, and he's like, I'll be fine. And then he'd probably fine. Which is also probably saying something about his weird mission and something else about him. That he could literally eat poison. You know? But how did the plant not kill him? Is that part of his weird backstory? I don't know. But I'm just saying. Eve smiled brightly and shook his head. Yeah, you probably shouldn't tell people you eat the death flowers.
If you ever have any problems with the lycrases, be sure to let us know. You don't want the kids touching them, you know?
I mean, to be fair to Eve, if they taste good, he could get rid of them easily by just turning into, like, he could just basically be like a human goat and just like munch all the flowers, and everyone's like, sweet. Now they're gone. Maybe it's something like if you go right down to the flower and you just shove it in your mouth and eat it, it can't kill you by toxic sport if you pluck it and then eat it. Then it could, you know? Too invested in how this works. Yes, I'll let you know if we need help. I was very happy now that I could talk to my new friend as comfortably and frequently as this. That said, I was a bit more worried than happy lately. Eve, I heard from Adolphe that you've been getting a lot of orders at Karon ever since the incident. I'm worried about you spending your free time with me like this.
Am I bothering you?
Not at all. I'm happy to see you come visit every day. But it still makes me wonder whether I'm taking up your time when you have more important things to do.
Well, I can't deny that I'm busy. I only just wrapped up a job before coming over today. But I'm not visiting out of kindness or just because I'm worried.
Huh?
The reason I visit so often is because I want to know more about you now that we're friends.
So in love with me. Maybe. Probably. They all are, let's be real.
In other words, for my own selfish reasons. I never once felt you were taking up my time.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Me too. I was certainly happy, but hearing him say it so casually and up front gave me a ticklish feeling. That's because he's adorable.
And I also came for another reason today. I have a personal work order for you that I was hoping you'd accept.
A work order? He wanted me to do something when he was able to handle anything and everything? Eve asked if I had some time now, so I invited him inside the orphanage for some tea. Eve took a sip, and the next thing he said was something I never expected. Huh? You want to temporarily hire her on his staff at Karon? I blinked a number of times at his sudden request out of nowhere, which surprised both me and Mother. Raise your hand if you were not surprised at all that this was coming. Okay, yeah, okay, we can put our hands down, guys. We didn't really need to raise our hands. I'm gonna guess every single one of us. Because that's how this goes. How else are we gonna date him? He shows up all the time, and when I'm like, we're gonna end up going to work for him. Come on. Eve, who was sitting in front of us, scratched his blushing cheek.
What you said earlier was absolutely true. I guess that thing with Boro made me popular enough to get more work orders than I can handle. In fact, I'm even getting orders from Cheetahs and Cernival, at places where my name wasn't known before.
That's a good thing, right? Seeing Eve with a perplexed look on his face, I chose my words carefully. I could tell from his expression that being so busy might be both good and bad, at least at the moment.
At first, Hugo was really happy, saying he could make enough money to save for his reliver fund, but as we got more work orders, our general upkeep of the place, especially the bookkeeping side, took a hit.
I couldn't help but feel sympathetic. It must be hard since it's only you and Hugo at Karon. So you wanna hire her for support to help manage what you can't handle?
Yeah, our ability to manage things really helped out when we all lived together during our operation.
He also mentioned that he heard from Adolphe that I helped with bookkeeping for the orphanage. So Eve lowered his head and asked for help with the daily chores and bookkeeping at Karon until things settled down.
Oh, of course, I'm not thinking of throwing all the chores at you. Hugo and I'll help whenever we can.
I know you're a good person, so I'm not worried about that, but... Mother looked at me as if to confirm my expression. Her helping you around Colin is fine, but if she stays for a prolonged period, what will the other residents say? I see. I'd love to help out, but if my being at your place makes you into a target for gossip...
I don't think rumors have much sway over my jobs. And if something did happen, I promise I'll protect you. If there's anything that ends up scaring you, you're free to quit any time. So how about it?
Seeing Eve calmly and persistently convince us led me to a new question. Why? Why do you want to hire me, of all people? There are a lot of others who can handle housework. People trusted him, too. I was sure that if he asked, there would be a lot of people who'd be willing to help. Even if we were friends, why would he want to hire someone known as Death? Girl, because nobody actually believes that. Everyone believes it about you except for these boys, because they're like, nah, I'm too busy being in love. I really couldn't answer the question myself. I posed my question to Eve, at which point he crossed his arms and frowned in thought.
Let's see. Now that you ask, I'm not entirely sure why. I absolutely know why, I just can't say it out loud. It sounds ridiculous. Can't tell you that I'm in love with you.
He might not be sure himself.
I guess the reason's because when I thought about getting help, the first person who came to mind was you.
Huh? Eve continued in a somewhat guilty tone.
So I'm sorry, but I don't have a clear-cut answer to your question. It just sort of popped up, I guess. That said, even if I did put a lot of thought behind who to ask, the result probably wouldn't have changed. I want you to help me. Simple as that.
Help? Me? He's strong and kind and has a lot of friends, and he wants me to help him? He was personally asking me for help. No one's thought of me like this before. I lived my life as someone weak, someone who always had to rely on others for help. To be honest, I was beyond happy just to have Eve as a friend. But I knew that I shouldn't get too deeply involved because I might bring him misfortune as death. I also knew I should convince him to ask someone else for help. But
whoops! Sorry for making it hard for you to refuse. I'm not trying to force you to help. I can wait as long as you need to make a decision, so take some time and let me know.
As long as I needed. I'm so grateful for his kindness in giving me the choice. Okay. Unable to bring myself to refuse his offer, I could only nod in acknowledgement. At that, Eve stood up from his seat. He then reminded me that I was free to refuse his offer before departing for Karon again. Are you sure you need more time? It seemed you were just about to accept his offer. Mother inquired with concern as she picked up the teacups. Adolphe usually avoided associating with others, but he introduced Eve as a friend, showing how much he trusted him. Which was probably why Mother hasn't tried to stop me from accepting the job offer. Well, it also meant that Mother would happily agree with what I decided, whether I accepted or refused, but this isn't just about me. If I'm going to accept Eve's offer, then I need to make sure I'm mentally ready for it. I think you're worrying too much. Your friends come all the way out here for you, so you should go and see how he is, too. What am I saying? I'm not allowed to say so after being overly protective of you. Please don't say that, Mother. I was able to reunite with a very precious friend because you kept watch over me. Which was why, in order to protect my precious friend's life in turn, I had something very important to consider.
I can't go into detail, but there's still a seed of a budding flower that will bring more death to this land.
Is it going to be...
The little you experienced thus far is mere a prologue. The mysterious deaths by suicide, the ruthless murders by force, the slow encroaching death by this land's curse, and other deaths that have yet to be discovered.
Heard your talk.
Not one of them has been resolved.
Was I really safe? What did he mean when he said that to me? I wanted to at least know the answers to those questions before I could give Eve my answer.
That's what you get for jamming yourself under my chin. Eat you.
After finishing dinner with the children, I calculated today's costs in my room as I thought about that ominous warning. Also, hard for me to talk. No, don't you eat the headset. You also can't put yourself in my face like that. Assuming what Anko said is true, how he's suppressing my powers is death, perhaps even now, we still haven't really solved the case of Boro and the mysterious suicides. Anko said so himself. But I remembered hearing that Boro didn't have any data backed up at the Institute, so he wouldn't be able to revive. Well, I mean, the one that died wasn't really him, but also might have been a Lucas clone. So what did he mean back then? Don't know who Boro is. Don't know the cause of those unusual suicides. They were unresolved mysteries at this point. Capucine. All of it. The little information we did have seemed to raise even more questions. The royal family's declaration that Boro distributed drugs was just an assumption. If those suicides were really the result of dangerous drugs, the same thing could potentially happen to those I knew. Could you stop pulling my shirt down so that you can jam your goddamn toenails into my throat? Your toenails are the worst. I really wish you'd let me trim them. They do, they suck. Toenails suck. Hate them. Love you, but I hate your fucking toenails. Bite your toe. For example, someone like Eve who asked me for help. Likes to, he pulls your shirt down. Probably because his body is fat and your shirt is not. But then he and then he'll wants to grip to the collar of your shirt, but then his nails are so fucking sharp they just rip into your skin. Pretty sure I've said this a million times. You're gonna make me take you to the doctor, man, aren't you? You're gonna hate that, and I'm gonna hate it too, because you haven't been to the doctor, man, in a long time, because I'm a bad bird mom. I haven't taken you to the vet man in a long time. It hasn't. I'm gonna have to call and be like, we moved, and then we moved back. I mean, technically we did move, but we didn't move out of the area, but he doesn't need to know that. And you're gonna not like it, because you won't let me use nail file on your toes. Tiny little nail file. I could just file your nails down a little. Yeah, or you let me use the clippers. Those are scary. I understand that. But if you let me file your nails, then you wouldn't have to go to the doctor, man, because he's going to wrap you up in a birdie burrito. Going to strap you down so you can't fly. And then he's going to take a Dremel that goes really loudly to trim your toenails. And you're going to scream because you did it last time. You were like, ah! You thought you were dying. It was actually pretty fucking funny. You didn't like it, but it was pretty funny, to be honest. And then we're also going to have to get you all sorts of shots and shit. So he's going to have to take blood, to do blood work, and stuff on you. And he's going to have to give you all your shots and stuff. And you're not going to like it. So you should just let me file your fucking toes. So you don't have to go to the doctor, man, and get shots. But you know what? It's payback for your goddamn dagger toes. He was still with the Corps, so if I stayed near him, I could help him and get access to information if something should happen. Of course, there was a concern that my presence would somehow negatively impact the lives of those in the Corps. Don't bite me. If you want petties, let me pet you, jerk. But staying here silently wouldn't help, and if something bad were to happen, it would be too late to do anything about it. If so... After a few days of deep thinking, I finally came to a decision. Eve came to visit again, and I let him know that I would like to accept his offer. Really? I'm so excited. I didn't know she was going to. Eve responded more enthusiastically than I expected.
You're a lifesaver, Spacey. I may not be the most reliable, but I'll do my best from now on.
Look, he's blushing, which is adorable. But also, he may not be the most reliable. I mean, fucking sure you're one of the most reliable people. Jesus, that's why everyone comes to you for help. Yes, I'll do my best to be of help, too, Eve. If you're hiring me, should I call you something different? Like, Monsieur Eve or Boss or something?
No need. Feel free to address me the same as always. There's no hierarchy at Karon. We're friends now, so I'd be sad if you suddenly went back to addressing me like a stranger.
Okay, well, I look forward to working with you, Eve. Eve seemed a little embarrassed and chuckled a little as he blushed. Later, we talked to Mother and confirmed the conditions of my working with them. First, I should commute to his office instead of living there since I needed to manage my work here, and because of my curse. Second, he could take me along with him for work, provided that I wouldn't be in danger. Eve actually listed out a number of conditions, at which point I noticed every one of them prioritized my well-being, being of little benefit to Eve depending on the work at hand. Mother repeatedly confirmed whether he was okay with the conditions he presented, but all he did was nod wholeheartedly. To be around the girl he has a little crush on. It's adorable. I have to admit, I admire the good in him, but I am worried that he's too generous and could be abused by others. Well, what you get for being a labradoodle. I agree. I wonder if Eve is actually making any money in his work. I assume that's why he's hiring you to assist with his bookkeeping. Miss Spacey, be sure to watch over him so he isn't deceived by his clients. After making my decision and discussing the details, I found myself still worried. I like the fact that, like, alright, I gotta put my pants on for this. So we're gonna be out, and he's gonna be like, no, that's cool. You can no, you're not gonna pay him next week. You've been saying that for months. You pay him now. Otherwise, he's not getting up there and cleaning your gutters, man. Like, starts rolling up my sleeves. Don't make me mad. You know they call me Death, right? Yeah, that's right. Where's my money, bitch? We gotta break some kneecaps. Gotta put some curses on people. I mean, I'm just saying, she could make some bank in the mafia. A few days later, my first day at work finally arrived. I avoided the busy streets of Karon and proceeded through the suburban area with similar houses lining the road.
Well, it's been a while, but welcome back to our home base of Karon. I'm so happy I can work with you again.
He greeted me with open arms as he stood fearlessly next to his licorice flower bed. You look really happy, Eve.
That's right. It's been just me and Hugo ever since I set up shop. I'm glad to have more friends here, even if it's just temporarily.
Huh. So you've never hired anyone else before, ever?
Well, I did hire others to help in the past, but they all quit within a month for various reasons.
Within a month? Oh god, is it... Normally you'd be like, is it because Eve is like a slave driver, like he's awful to work for? You know it's like because they're like, I can't handle his chaos, like he does not, oh my god, I can't work with this labradoodle, like, he's adorable and you want to pet him on the head, but like, holy shit, the way he oh god, it's crazy. Also, he probably tries to feed them, and they're like, I'm gonna die if I stay here any longer. That's probably what it is. Maybe the job was a poor fit for them. I have a feeling it's just because labradoodle doesn't have any boundaries. Or maybe the nature of working with handymen was too varied. Probably his cooking. Due to our short life expectancy, it wasn't common to see people change professions requiring different skill sets. It wasn't because of the country's laws, but rather because many were relivers. The process required them to create a clone as soon as they were able, which would be fixed in a state that would never age. What this meant was their knowledge and abilities gained throughout their lives couldn't be changed or erased. For example, if a reliver merchant who worked at the marsh changed professions and became a member of the Corps, no matter how much training they underwent, their clone body was already fixed, so nothing would change, not even their build. Okay, so that explains a little bit more, because in Science Rod it was like he didn't have time to create us a clone body, and it's like, why? But it literally, so when you go in and you download and you back up your data, they make your body for you right then and there. But that doesn't also sound legit either. Because then you would just pop the brain in the body instead of like, it's a goo. Remember that person who was basically just a lump that wasn't fully formed? When like Simon came in and busted the egg open? So like, I guess it's a matter of like, you back up your brain and I'm data mapping your body. Here's your DNA and it's data mapping. Like, okay, this is you. So like, yeah, if I went in now and backed me up and then 2 years from now, I gained like 500 pounds and then I died and then I went in like, cool, like my body's going to be born like I am today. Reverse would be true if like, okay, then you were like, yeah, I got into muscle building and look at me. I'm like a bodybuilder. Cool. All of that work is gone now when you go and get your new clone body because 2 years ago you weren't a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? So I guess it's just backing up your data, and your data right now is your blueprint. It's not really your clone body is fixed. Kind of is, but it's not like they actually have a body for you. Okay. But it still doesn't really explain why he couldn't back me up. He backed up my brain but couldn't back up my body. You know what I mean? Doesn't make sense. I mean, I know we're not supposed to think too much about it, but like, hi, I can't help it. We overthink this shit. Still trying to figure out how Eve's eating fucking flowers that are supposed to kill you when you pluck them, okay? Still in the back of my mind, was he the labradoodle? Was he the golden retriever? I don't really know. He's the labradoodle now. He's basically our Scooby-Doo. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anymore. Like, anyway. I mean, I guess you have to be alive to do it. And, like, so maybe they can't do it simultaneously. It's like you gotta back up your brain and then you do the data mapping of your body, but, like, one was done and the other one wasn't before I died. Whatever. Anyway. I don't know, but I'm just saying. You're leaving some loopholes that aren't explained and I don't like it. You know? So I feel like that tragic end could have just not been tragic. Anyway. Worse, their lack of fighting experience would carry over to their cloned bodies, so it was an uphill battle to hone their fighting skills. Not necessarily, though, because you could come back, right? So, like, okay, I worked at the marsh, blah, blah, blah. I died. I went, I got my clone body. Okay, now in my new clone body, that's when I switch jobs. And then I'm like, now I work for the Corps. Woohoo! Boop, 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 boop. Honing my skills. Then you back yourself up. You know? You have to back yourself up after you switch careers, not fucking before. It's like you people don't understand timing. You know what I mean? Like, what would be the point of backing yourself up? You'd be like, oh, the sickness is getting to me. Okay, let me back myself up. I'm like 20. What's the point of then going and getting a new job for the next couple of years before you drop dead? Be like, I'm just going to wait out this job for another year or two. So when I die, then my clone body will be built. And then someone could just remind me, oh, yeah, you were actually going to go change careers. Because, like, what would be, you know what I mean? Like, what's the point of changing career? And even then, you back yourself up, you change careers, then you die, your clone is born, your clone doesn't have any memories of all of that. So, yeah, that makes sense. Like, people are not geniuses, are they? Like, don't switch careers until your new clone's born. I don't know. Anyway. Ultimately, their experience as a merchant would become their calling due to being the path of least resistance. Again, not really. You just gotta back yourself up after you start making these changes, not before. Which was why there weren't many relivers around who could work multiple jobs. It was possible that Eve's work as a handyman was relied upon because no one else could do what he did. I thought perhaps the reason many quit so soon was because they couldn't keep up with the variety of work here. Now, I should think about it too much. It's because Eve's cooking almost killed them. Which could also mean that Hugo must have gone through a lot to get used to working here since he's a reliver from Cheetahs.
Now that you're here, why don't I show you around your new workplace? The outside may look like any other house, but I'm very particular about the inside.
Oh god, it's going to be goddamn chaos in here, isn't it? I cannot wait. Eve smiled and tugged on my hand to bring me through the doorway as the Lycaris swayed in the gentle breeze. You know it's going to be amazing. I mean, we've already been here. I looked around to discover... Oh no, we were at Adolphe's house. We stayed at Adolphe's house, weren't we? Yeah, that's where we stayed when we stayed together. We've seen this background. A number of dolls and figurines, bringing to mind a certain thought about the room. Feels like a child's secret hideout. I was really expecting the background to be more I kind of forgot about this one.
Adolphe said the same thing when I first invited him here. That's amazing. Despite not being related by blood, you two really are like siblings.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to sound rude. I like how he's like, Adolphe said the same thing. She's like, I wasn't trying to be rude. He's like Adolphe was? Probably.
Not at all. On the contrary, I'm satisfied because it was exactly the idea I was going for.
You want your house to look like a child's playground? You know what? I can't fault you for that. Look at all of my, like, anime posters and, like, Otome cards and, like, little figures and, like, I think I had gotten... Was it? It was my Bungo Stray Dogs ones in a package one time. I think I was traveling with my mom. And I got it out of the mail, so I opened them and, like, my little plushies. And she's like, oh, what, you got your dollies with you? She's making fun of my plushies. Like, shut up, lady. All my plushies all over the place, all my pillows and things. It's like a child's playground in here, too, and I'm a grown-ass motherfucking adult. I still always need an adultier adult. I will never be that adulty adult. It's never gonna happen, but... Yes, so I'm here with this. High five, Eve. Let's do it.
I'm really a sucker for things that bring out the child in me. And once I become obsessed with something, I can't stop.
You and me same, bro. You see, I'm sure if the children at the orphanage were here, they'd be thrilled to explore the entire place. He's like, don't fucking touch my shit. He even looked around the room he was accustomed to seeing and explained to me what his job at Karon entailed. He mentioned it to me before, but this place was not only his workplace, but his home. Apparently, it was a shop he opened when he was 14 years old, just before he met Hugo. This is so adorable. He did it at 14. That's why there's a cute little stuffed bunny in the background.
We're mainly active during the daytime, except under special circumstances. All work orders are accepted to help people in need.
He went on to explain that he carved out time to work with Adolphe at the Corps and was often sent to the slums to provide assistance. I quickly parsed through the notebook that he gave me, filled with information on the types of jobs done and their respective rewards. Some amounts were pocket change, while several others resulted in huge profits, making his revenue highly unstable. So the amount you earn depends a lot on the content of the work order. Huh. But I just noticed that you used to charge a set fee for any job you took on when you first opened the business. Not only that, but the fee was really small.
Yeah, well, that's because I originally set up shop to help anyone in need. I knew if I joined the Corps, I'd have a salary of sorts, and so I wasn't too focused on money. But things changed when Hugo joined and noticed how much I was charging for my services.
You can't save enough money to become a reliever at that rate, so I forced him to raise the prices for his services.
Oh, that's right. I also learned from him that some people feel guilty getting favors done for free, while others actually abuse.
Before he could finish his sentence, someone came in through the door. It was obviously Hugo. Hugo! Hey, how have you been? You must have been through a lot after getting dragged into all that mess. In came Hugo, who had been absent from Karon for some time to handle another work order. Seeing that he hadn't changed since the last time I saw him, which was like a couple weeks ago, I breathed a sigh of relief. I'm gonna go up and hug him. Thank God you're not dead! He's like, what? I mean, you've died a couple of times, sweetie, so we're just really happy to see you is all. You know, I'm pretty surprised you actually accepted this random selfish offer. You're too nice for your own good, you know? It almost sounds like you're talking about Eve instead of me. Well said. As you know, this guy's really random and runs on instinct, so if you get fed up by his shenanigans, feel free to leave. So, really random. That's exactly. He's a hyperactive labradoodle! That's why everyone leaves! They're like, I cannot work with this fucker. How adorable, though. You're like, yeah, no, he's going to be chaotic, and it's going to be kind of fun. Eve's a dear friend, so I would never abandon him like that. Maybe.
Yeah, tell him!
Why do you look so happy? You better not be full of yourself just because you made your first girlfriend. I couldn't help but smile at the two of them going at it like brothers. And Eve's blushing. He's like,
he said girlfriend. I know he meant a friend who's a girl, but if you say girlfriend and girlfriend, really, you know.
We continued and had a casual conversation with Hugo for a while longer. Later, at Eve's suggestion that I make myself comfortable, I decided to take a quick look around. The place felt strangely large despite its appearance, and what especially caught my eye was the kitchen, the medicine box, the fishbowl, a small model car. It's probably not the kitchen. We already know he's a terrible cook. The fishbowl, because didn't he have that, I don't know, any of these could be good. The fishbowl or the small model car? Probably. The fishbowl harkens back to, when he brought the fish over that nearly killed everyone. So that's kind of funny. The medicine box is a mystery. The kitchen is like, please don't fucking mention the kitchen. He'll want to cook something for you and we're all going to die. Maybe mentioning the fishbowl will also lead to that. But the small model car is his, childish side, just the cute, you know what I mean? So that's kind of interesting. Oh, it was a small model car. Okay. Was this a wooden model? Also, why does that look like a Toyota Corolla or something? You know what I mean? That does not look like any other car that we have seen. They all look like ye oldie time Shuba, whatever. And this looks like a very modern car. Look at the sleekness, the bubbly, the roundness. So you know what I'm saying? Is that, they just made a little wood car and it doesn't look like the cars that are out there? You know what I mean? Like, the cars that we've seen kind of, I feel like look more like ye oldie time 1940s Fords. You know what I mean? Like original, like they're very square, and this looks very sleek and rounded. So there's either an accidental discrepancy or it means something. I don't know. I never know what's up in this game. Was this a wooden model? At first I thought Eve made it, but
That's a reward I got for my first work order after I opened Karon. My client was a kid about 5 years old. He didn't have money, so that was his payment.
sounds like a really lovely reward. Eve said that the boy got it from someone else, but he still seemed very happy. Yeah, see, so where did that come from?
He looked like he felt bad for paying with a model, but it's worth more than money to me. Especially when I'd only seen a handful of cars back then.
I could picture a slightly younger Eve happy with the model. I could picture this Eve super happy with the model, because he already is, you know? If so, then this model was actually an important memento of the start of Karoon.
Aside from this, I get a lot of handmade items as rewards, and each one of them are special treasures to me.
Adorable. That's why we love the Labradoodle. And I'll be sure to take special care of them. You do know they can be damaged if you don't keep the place clean, right?
You're right. I'll make sure to keep the place clean and not use my busy schedule as an excuse.
Don't worry, I'll dust. I mean, you know what? Dust on your collectibles just shows that you don't touch them. Okay, don't touch them. I continued looking around the house with Eve explaining along the way until we finally came upon a large bookshelf. And this is where we keep a record of all the requests we've ever received from clients until now.
Well, this is important because some of our reliver clients sometimes ask us to do the same work they asked for before. Which is why I have every bit of information I can record in these books, so I can go back to them when needed.
I see. He had his clients' names, a sketch of their faces, and what was done from start to finish. That's interesting, the sketch of their faces. The two of them explained to me how each record was written with as much detail as possible. Eve, Hugo, would it be alright if I looked through the books on the shelf?
Sure, why not? It'll help with the work here, so feel free to check them out.
In fact, we showed these to you because we want you to use them. No need to ask. Well, I wasn't sure how to say this.
Spacey, just to confirm, did you not mean you wanted to look at them when a new job came in? But rather, whether it was okay to read through them on your own time?
Yes.
May I ask why?
I nodded silently. You two have been accepting a variety of work orders from various people in Coen. So I was thinking maybe Boro or someone related to him could have been one of your clients. I figured it was worth a shot to check. Their little shock faces. Of course, it's only a slim possibility. Since we don't know who Boro really is, even if he was in your records, it'd be very difficult to find the right one. But it feels wrong somehow to just assume things are all over and forget about what happened. Hearing my idea, the two of them had surprised looks on their faces. I guess this was too random. I was supposed to come here to help Eve, but in reality I was actually bothering him. Just as I was about to apologize...
Now that you mention it, I suppose there is a possibility.
I don't know. I doubt the killer would have come to a small operation managed by a member of the Corps just to ask for help. I don't know, has Lucas ever come?
Well, yeah, but there's something else that bothers me.
Huh? He tilted his head in thought.
Remember when we were chasing Boro? And when he was running from us, ducking through the alleys, it felt like he knew his way around really well.
His words immediately jogged my memory. Is he gonna finally fucking point out, like, how the hell he Spider-Man off buildings and then yet Mathis was able to hit him with a car? Come to think of it, he didn't hit any dead ends the entire time before we caught up to him. I hadn't heard of any other incidents apart from the one I stumbled on before.
Well, there's a chance he did his homework and studied the town map or something, but
not many actually frequent the alleys, so I'm not sure if he was lurking around ahead of time. He'd have been spotted.
Yeah, which is why
There's a chance Boro already knew Cohen well enough to navigate the alleys. He could have been a commoner or at least posed as one, and may have even previously contacted Karoon. Oh, nope. No, okay. No, he wasn't going to go there. He wasn't going to go to how, like, remember? And he, like, boom, boom, boomed off the buildings, and he was super, and yet Mathis could hit him with the car, and then, but he was only running, and he didn't Spider-Man off buildings, and that was how he could catch up and even hit him with the car. Doesn't that seem a little fucking sus? No, no one's going to bring that up. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. All right, well, whatever. That's because they think he's dead, so. Does that seem likely?
Yeah, but we can't say for sure just yet.
Sure. Oh. Eve's voice does that to me.
But even if the assumption is wrong, it's still worth going through our records just in case.
Even Hugo looked at me. Well, the Corps still conducting the investigation into the mysterious suicides. To be honest, investigating Boro at the same time would be a pain, so we'd be grateful if Spacey could find something. Hugo shrugged and continued. He said that, though it wasn't obvious, the Corps weren't satisfied with the forced conclusion made by the royal family. So they were patrolling the marsh every day under the belief that drugs or disease could be a possible factor. So what you're saying is... Eve nodded in response.
I'd be glad if you could look through them too, if you don't mind my sloppy writing. Even if there aren't any leads to Boro, the information should help you understand the work here at Karoon.
Right. Thank you very much. I'll read over what you two have done and how you've helped people through your work. I'm looking forward to it.
Instead, I want to know more about the kind of girl you are now. I'll also do my best to show you what kind of person I am now, whether in word or deed.
The same way he said those words to me as a friend. I saw my friendship with Eve as something special and unique. I'd do what I could to help him here at Karoon, just like he asked, and I'd return the kindness he showed me in the past, present, and in the future. Oh. I made that vow deep in my heart in response to Eve's smile. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this part up here, and I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.